So thank you all for coming to this session. And my name is Ying. I'm a lecturer at the Australian National University, and it's my great pleasure to be here moderating this talk by Kevin Chen, uh, a well-known writer from Taiwan. And we should start with a round of applause here. Welcome, Si-hong. I'll start with the introduction to about Si-hong. So Kevin Chen was born in 1979 in Yongjing.
Six.
Oh, sorry,
I'm
76.
older.
No. Yeah, so 76. I can't tell. Sorry. In Yongjing Township in Changhua County in Taiwan. So if you read his novel 鬼地方, it's based in Yongjing. So he's the ninth child, the ninth one in a farming family. So it's quite similar to the family structure in the novel itself. Right. So he holds degrees in English literature and theater from Taiwanese universities and has lived in Berlin, Germany for about 2 decades already.
Exactly.
2 decades. So over the course of his career, he has won numerous literary awards in Taiwan, including the 2023 Taiwan Literature Awards for books. So it's a prestigious award, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So Kevin has published 5 novels, a few more to come, 3 short stories collections, and 3 works of creative nonfiction or 散文. So Ghost Town, 鬼地方, is the first of his novels to be translated into English, and it has since been translated into 10 languages, with 4 more to come, 4 forthcoming. And it has been, I understand, has been adapted into a stage play, which was performed last month in Taiwan. So Kevin, in addition to being a writer, he is also an actor and a translator. So just yesterday, he shared with me that he was a translator for the director Tsai Ming-liang in Berlin International Film Festival on several occasions. So there's some Malaysian connection in there. Try to make the connection because Tsai Ming-liang was born in Malaysia. So today, we will be focusing on Ghost Town, a book that you can get downstairs in the marketplace, which has now become his most recognized work. The novel, it's a fragmented narrative about, family drama told from different perspectives of the members of the Chen family who live in a small town called Yongjing, who happen to be Kevin's hometown as well. So the family consists of 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and their intertwined stories reflect Taiwan's economic and social changes. The novel is set in a time when Taiwan's economic boom promised bright futures for many, yet the residents of this small rural town remain far removed from this economic bubble. So the stories also explore themes of rural superstitions, particularly those concerning ghosts. So the town is portrayed as a ghost town, not because it is empty, not because it's devoid of people, but because it is a place haunted by the past, a place that people wish to escape but cannot. So the term ghost towns, 鬼地方 in Chinese, also has the connotation of a place that no one wants to be. So I think I'll start with the first question, Kevin.
Thank you.
So, in the novel, the protagonist is the youngest son of the family who returns to this ghost town from Berlin after many years. So, is it autobiographical, semi-autobiographical, or if yes, can you describe what this ghost town looks like for you?
Well, okay. First of all, I learned the word of oral fiction after publishing the book in English. I didn't know the term until I was sharing a panel with Professor Michael Berry in UCLA, I think 2 years ago, and he told me that this is an oral fiction. I was like, "What's that?" And then he kind of told me that, okay, so it's a fiction with autobiographical elements. I was like, "Oh, that's a good term. I should pick up." So indeed, so Ghost Town is supposed to be a oral fiction, which is something I actually didn't think about when I was writing. I just wanted to write a book that is very much based on my upbringing, my hometown, my family, because I'm from this really crazy family. You just said that in your introduction to me. I'm the ninth. I have 7 sisters. Why do I have 7 sisters? Can anyone take a guess? Come on, it's easy. Yes, of course. It's yeah. In order to have a boy, my parents tried 7 times. What are the odds?
Probably more than that
It's
in order to get
Yeah.
them.
Well, if there's a competition in the world, say who has more sisters, I never lost. Really. So and it's wonderful to grow up in the family with 7 sisters. Because the thing is, okay, I never realized until I was older that they were the unwanted children because my parents never wanted them. They wanted to have a son. So eventually, the eighth came, my brother, and that should have been the end, but they didn't stop. So take another guess. Why didn't they stop? No, I was planned. Actually, I was born the year 1976, which was the year of dragon, like this year. So see, so for a Taiwanese family as well as for most Chinese speaking families, it's very important to have a dragon baby. So they were like, after having the eighth, they were like, next year is the year of dragon. Let's try again. Maybe we'll have a second boy. And then they had me. So I was growing up in this really crazy family, really loud and with this gender imbalance. So I was born with amazing stories. And I want to talk about something as well. One of my neighbors is one of the richest families in Taiwan, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of that family in Malaysia as well, because they actually produce this instant noodle called Kang Shi Fu. Yes, and they're my neighbor from this very small town, and this 鬼地方. And the funny thing is, they in the 80s they became so rich by going to China. We in Taiwan we call Xijing, meaning going west. So China in the 80s and 90s, it was the wild wild west for Taiwanese business people. They wanted to go there and to become rich. And this neighbor of ours wanted to go there to invest in this thing called instant noodles, 方便面 or 泡面, with this very strange name called Kang Shi Fu. And he came to my father and asked for investment. And my father was one of the first investors. And my father even had several visits to China and everything. But somehow at the very last minute, he withdrew everything. So we didn't get rich. He got rich, and the story was that eventually the family bought this really ugly but the most famous building in Taiwan, in Taipei, called Taipei 101, in case you have heard about. Well, really, seriously, it's a very ugly building. Yeah, but for a few years, the family actually owned the building. They bought it and they sold it with amazing price, so they even made a huge profit. And but when they were the owner of that building, every time one time I was shopping in that neighborhood because it's the shopping place in Taipei. I was with my sisters, and my sisters were looking at the building, which is really such a I don't know if I could say that in Malaysia. I'm sorry, but it's like such a phallic symbol in a city, and we really hated that. Even though they say it's bamboo, we're like, no, it's not, but it's really honest ugly, which is very interesting, We're talking about it. Well, anyway, I'm gonna stop there. So my sisters, they were looking up at this really ugly building, and they says, if our father didn't withdraw the money, we would have owned at least 6 floors in our building, but that didn't happen. And my sister just turned to me that's why you became a writer. Otherwise you don't need to write. We just have to sit there and shop. So see, I'm from this very ordinary small town that nobody, seriously, even a lot of people in Taiwan have never heard of this town. But in my eyes, in my perspective, this town is a crazy, crazy town. Like, seriously, the rich people. Okay, so they became rich. And I don't know about you guys here in Malaysia. In Taiwan, when people got rich out there, what would they do after they came home? In Taiwan, they would build a crazy huge building to tell you that, hello, I'm rich. It's like announcement, because in Chinese Mandarin it's called 衣锦还乡. So, you're coming back with some glamorous outfit, and this is their way of telling the world that we are rich, you suckers. And that's exactly what they did. And this is why I wrote the book, because it's really a crazy town, and it's a crazy family. So yes, there are a lot of autobiographical elements in this book.
And to just carry on that, because I read from your interviews that after you became a writer and you won an award, one of your neighbors also sent something like
Oh my God, this
to your home, saying that this is the pride of Yongjing
okay.
or
So
something.
what happened was that was the election year. So election year in Taiwan is always a crazy year, okay? Because we're crazy about elections. We have a really vibrant and colorful election culture. We have a very young democracy, but it's really seriously, if you're interested in Taiwanese culture, go there during the election time because everybody's arguing. Seriously, nobody's happy. They're always pissed. And so I won a literature award somehow, it's like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the election day. I had no idea. I was in Taipei, and my big sister, my older sister, just called me and said, "Kevin, you have to come back." I said, "Why?" He said, "You just come back now." I said, "Okay." So my big sister told me to go. So I went home, and then there, what was waiting for me? It's two huge. I don't even know how to say that. 匾额, like plaques of things, saying you are the pride of Yongjing. And why are there two of them? Because there were two candidates running for the campaign. They wanted to become the mayor of the town. So they were competing whose plaque was bigger. And that was such an absurd drama because they were taking pictures with me, taking turns, faking smile, even though they hate each other. And the thing is, one plaque was so absurd. It's a big, huge bird, like an eagle or something, flying over the Chinese Great Wall. And I'm like, what's this gonna do with me? I have
Phoenix, like
I
Feng
no
or something.
idea. But and down there, of course, they bought it from a shop and they just printed something on that. They, with my name Chen, but it's wrong. There was typos. It's totally wrong. And the other one as well. There were typos on that thing as well. It was even bigger. It was so embarrassing. It all happened in 10 minutes, and they took pictures with me, and they posted these pictures on their social media, and they just took off and they left.
Okay, they don't even know what did you write about Yongting in your
No.
book. As like,
They have
if they read it, they probably won't like it.
Oh, but the absurdity doesn't stop there. So eventually, the one with the bird won the election, and the other one, I think the other one the other one was really funny. The other one was something with cherry, and something I don't know, something with the pung or something in Chinese. So the one with the cherry lost, but the one with the bird, the big eagle, won. But exactly 40 days after he became the mayor, he was sentenced and he went into jail because of corruption.
Very dramatic.
Seriously, so this is my town. This is the absurdity of my town. That's why I needed to write a book about this town because it simply
That's
doesn't make
very-
any sense.
Yeah, and can you tell us about why do you use the focus on ghost
Ah.
and why? Because it's not just about the ghost town, but also the superstitious
Sure.
feelings among the villagers and all those temple events that you
Sure.
went to. Yeah.
I just want to talk about that. Do we believe in ghosts here in Malaysia and Penang?
Yes.
I'm sure you do because
Yes.
I've been walking around, I don't have the so-called third eye to see whatever, but I could feel something. Why is that? There's so many temples. Basically, each corner you can find temples. And where there are many temples, there must be a lot of ghosts. That's my word. And in my town, in my world, it's really a word full of superstitions. And I want to play with the word ghost in Chinese, 鬼. Because let's go back to the Chinese title of the book, the original title, 鬼地方. Actually, there's no way you can find a good translation for this term. Because 鬼 in Chinese is a very ambiguous character. It could mean, literally, it means ghost. But it could also mean something that you don't like. For example, if you hate this room so much, or if you hate Penang, if you hate Georgetown so much, I hope you don't. Yeah, but if you really hate Georgetown, you could say, "Oh, Georgetown is a 鬼地方." The literal translation is Georgetown is a ghost place, but it doesn't mean that it's haunted or whatever. It has nothing to do with ghosts. It just means that you don't like it, but you use 鬼 as a way, to express your negativity towards this place. So it's a very ambiguous term. And I also want to play with the word because at the end of the book, I cannot tell you what happened in the end of the book because there are a lot of plot twists at the end. But it's also about the past from your country, the terror from your country that keeps haunting you. So it's also it's I want to make sure that because I love this term very much, 鬼. Because the thing is, when we were you just said that this book has been translated, it has been published in 10 different languages, but in different cultures, this book has been received in entirely different ways. Most cultures, a lot of cultures, they simply do not believe in ghosts. Like, okay, I remember my first book tour of the English translation was in New York. And I remember I was giving a talk in a university, at a college on Park Avenue. It's called Counter College. And first of all, it was really funny because I asked the same question. So I have 7 sisters. People take a guess. They were freshmen, so they were 18-year-olds. So take a guess. Why do I have 7 sisters? And you know what? I don't know which generation they're from. You know what they said? Well, I guess your parents must really love children. No. And the other goes, "Are you Catholic?" No, yeah, and lots of crazy questions, and so even the second question I just asked you, why after having the eighth, which was a son, why did it continue? And I said I was born the year of 1976, and then they said, oh, in case that the eighth died, so they have a spare. I was like, that's dark. That's really dark, so it's really crazy. So, and then we talked about the culture of ghosts, and that happened to be like a week before Halloween. So in America, they have this thing called Halloween. And so it's about ghosts. But the thing is, Halloween is not scary at all. It's not. It's about partying, and it's about having fun, putting yourself into costume and becoming something else. But the thing is, in Asia, our ghost culture is really scary. And if you ask someone to describe what a ghost looks like, there's no way. Because the scariest part is that they don't have words or good descriptions to talk about ghosts. The thing is, they exist, but they don't really, and it's like, it's something in
I
between.
think the scary part is that they are always there, but you don't know where they are very close to us.
Yes.
It's not like vampire or something that you can't really reach out to them, but they're just somewhere here.
No. So here we're in Asia, we can talk about that. But Ghost Town is going to be published in Germany in 3 months in March, and I'm really looking forward to that because I'm pretty sure the book will sell 5 copies or what in Germany because they seriously do not believe in ghosts. So
The German?
Germans, they don't. Before I went to Berlin, where I live, I really believe that Berlin must be one of the most haunted places in the world. Think about that. I mean, the Nazi, the 2 wars, and the massacre, the Holocaust and everything. And then when I was there, seriously, like in Penang, I've been walking around, at nighttime in the morning. I felt something, the spirits or whatever. But in Germany, I don't feel that. I seriously don't. And after a while, I realized that because it's not in their language, it's not in their fantasy, it's not in their dreams. So that culture, it's collectively, they do not believe in ghosts at all. So ghost doesn't even have a place to survive or to thrive. So seriously,
Poor ghost.
I know. So they went somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe they came to Malaysia or something with heavy German accents or something. Yeah, but that's the truth. So I'm pretty sure there's no way for them to understand the book because it's been hard to actually to try to find a German publisher willing to publish the book because most German publishers after reading the manuscript were like, "What's this about? Blech, what's that?" So they were like really the reception has been really really poor. So the thing is, that's why I enjoy coming to Malaysia so much because I know we believe in ghosts and I'm sure we have some Taiwanese people here. Taiwanese, do we have some? Yeah. So what do we do? What do we do when we check in the hotel? Yeah, see, they do that thing. Okay, do you do that here in Malaysia?
You're not
Yes, you do as well, right? And it's
to say hello to some spirits and stuff.
you know
Make sure that we are
I mean?
entering.
Okay, so let's say you get your room card. Okay, and that your room number is 444. Oh, you go back to reception. No, I need a different room. Yeah. And why is that? Because 4 is not a good number. Like in Taiwan, all the hospitals, they do not have fourth floor, which is stupid. Seriously, yeah.
Some of us here as well. Buildings here and in Singapore as well. It's 3A. It's always 3A.
See? And it's really crazy. And then you knock on the door. Why? Because by knocking on the door, you're informing the spirits of the ghosts in there who are enjoying a Netflix, whatever film on there. And then knocking to hit, oh, wow, very nice, polite people coming in. So I am going to give them space. So they will go through the wall, put down the remote control, and said, "This is yours." Yeah. This is absurd, But I just want to say it because there are stories about this. Because okay, exactly the same thing. So talking about New York, I talked about the same thing. And those freshmen, in that college, they thought I was just crazy. And they asked me, "So, Mr. Chen, so when you check in a hotel in New York City, do you knock on the door?" I said, "No, I'm a civilized, modern, educated, new generation of Taiwanese. Why would I do that?" So I was moving from Manhattan to Brooklyn that night. So to a really crappy hotel to save money. So upon checking in this hotel in Brooklyn, I was thinking, oh, the girl just asked me this morning if I will knock on the door, and should I said, "No, I'm an educated, civilized person. I would never do that." So I didn't knock on the door. I just use the key, the card, go in. And when I opened, there was someone in there.
Someone as in?
Yeah, and I closed it. I was like, "Okay, did I just see that? I'm crazy. I'm too tired. I'm jet lagged, whatever." So I opened again, and this guy got closer, like really staring at me. So I closed the door. I said, "Okay, I'm going down to this reception. There must be a reasonable explanation to this." I went down to the reception. I said, "There is someone in there." And the receptionist said, "No,
Oh no.
that person has checked out. It's an empty." I said, "No." And he really didn't believe me. Eventually, after like 10 minutes of argument, he went up with me and he opened the door. And then he starts screaming, there's someone, like, call the cops, call the cops." And I was in the lobby watching the whole drama. The NYPD, they had to come, drag this person out from the room and whatever. So it turned out I don't know, he found a way to go back to the room after checking out or something. It was a whole drama.
It's so
And
interesting.
I was in the lobby watching this whole thing, which took like 3 hours. And eventually I had to check in the same room. And that was the most haunted room ever, really. And then the same thing happened again. And because it was a book tour, 2 days later, I was in DC. So I was like, "Oh, wait, okay, I'm not gonna knock on the door again. That's really stupid." I didn't. I just went into the room. There's a man again. And I'm like, "This is not happening." And so this time I used my cell phone. I took a snapshot. Like, I want to prove that there's someone in there. It's not my eyes. I'm not crazy. And I went to the receptionist. I said, "There's someone in the room." They said, "No, there's no someone." I said, "Yes, I have a picture to prove." They were like, "Oh my God." And this lady went up to the room with me, and then turned out he was an engineer fixing the air conditioning.
Right.
But I want to say after that, I became a very superstitious person. I came here first night in Vietnam. I knocked on the door like 10 times. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
good practice, right? I don't know, Kevin, why this absurdity of lives keep happening to you. You might be a really special, unique person.
I don't know. Maybe
But
that's why I became a writer. I don't know.
yes, that's something that I actually want to ask you because in your novel,
Yeah.
a lot of characters, like, especially women, the sisters in this big family and gay men, they were kind of undervalued, not even they're unvalued at all. They were voiceless. They're silenced in your stories,
Yeah.
right? And they are seen as useless to the society, so they have no place for them. Like the ghosts in Germany that you're saying, there's no place for them in the society. So can you talk more about kind of your portrayal of this marginalized characters in the novel? And because I remember in your interview, you mentioned that I quote from you, it's a writer. You said that a writer must be someone who has been hurt. Because when you become part of the minority and experience the pain, that's when you begin to be gentle, 温柔,
Yeah.
and that's when you can write literature. So before we start the Q&A session, can you tell us about why you begin to write, and then what about writing about these traumatic
Sure.
stories and giving us a place and a voice for these marginalized characters?
So first of all, talking about the woman, I read about sisters. I mean, in reality, I have 7, and in the book, the protagonist has 5, and they're all unwanted. And this is what I experienced as the youngest son in the family, watching all my sisters growing up in the really in the environment where their gender is not expected, and they cannot fully express themselves. And I don't know about women here in Malaysia, but in Taiwan, if you ask every woman, all of them, practically all of them, I mean, I'm sure all of them, they all have their stories about sexual harassment or abuse, whatever, to share if they're willing to tell you. So that was the time that where I was, in which I was growing up. It was the late 70s and 80s, and 80s was a really strange decade in Taiwan because that was the transitional decade because we had martial law. What does martial law mean? That means everything is regulated. Genders are being regulated. So boys were not allowed to have long hair. So what happened was during under martial law, if boys had longer hair, like what how do you even define longer hair? Let's see if we have any gentlemen here with some longer hair. If you're longer longer than your earlobes, then it's considered long. And then what did they do? They would just drag you into the police station and shave you with that kind of violence, And so, woman as well. If you're a woman and then you have really short hair, whoa, no, that there must be something wrong with you. So I even know a story. A neighbor of mine was a girl because she had hair lice situation, so she had to cut her hair really short. So it was a medical situation, but the cops were not happy, and so they had to force a wig on her to make her girlish. Yeah, so seriously, those things happen. So it was a time when everything was regulated and censored. So emancipation was not even an option. Then suddenly we got rid of the martial law, and the society was rapidly changing. And then we had started to have all different kinds of liberations, of genders, of sexuality, and different minorities in the society. Until now, I can say that because I don't want to be a nationalist because a lot of people in Taiwan would say, "I'm also part of my country, Taiwan number one." I was like, "Shut up!" I don't want to say that, but what I am proud of is that just in spite of all the difficulties and the challenges that we face internationally and domestically, we managed to establish a democracy that allows a lot of minorities now at this point to have their voices and they can voice their opinions. So when I was writing this book, I was very much thinking about this because I growing up, I didn't have a voice, and as a matter of fact, growing up as a teenager in that difficult environment, I went to all boys school, high school. It was all about being masculine and macho. As a matter of fact, every day we had to sing some military songs, 军歌, and we had to march or whatever. And if you're not good at sports, and then you're considered whatever sissy. And because I love poetry, I was writing fictions, I was writing poetry, I was being bullied for loving literature. So it was a very, very dark time. I remember one time, a group of basketball bullies, they really hit me in the face because they said, we saw that you're writing poetry on your math textbooks, and they really slapped me. Yeah, and there was no the 17-year-old Kevin Chen didn't have any room in this world to fight back because if I fall back, probably it would have been even a more difficult situation for me. So growing up as that, coming to this now, I'm a middle-aged man. Looking back, writing a book, I wanted to make sure that I include those traumatic experiences. I wanted to speak for a lot of people who didn't even have a chance to voice their opinions, in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And so I can say that now we are a better, not perfect society. We already had a woman president, and a lot of minorities can have their platforms and everything, and we don't have any censorship. But I still want to say that there is still a very huge gap between the big cities and small towns. So where I came from, no, you cannot just parade around with your minority voices. No, because it's still a very conservative place. And after the book was published, exactly a week later, I remember this. Exactly the same thing happened in Hanoi, Vietnam, and in Seoul, South Korea. That young boys came to me and said that they actually wanted to end their lives, but after reading the book, somehow they have a different decision.
Wow, that's
So,
important.
and I was like, that's why I wrote the book. Even though it's a very dark and sad book, I'm always like, you found that power in the book because the book was very, very sad if you ever read the book. And but somehow through sadness or whatever, they found a way to emancipate. So
Yes, yes. Those portrayal of the violence, they are very, actually very real, very graphic,
yeah,
I would say. But at the same time, you, as a reader, you know that that really happens to many people in living in your hometown. It
yeah.
possibly also happened to your family and friends as
Yeah,
well.
because I think talking about a patriarchal society, or even talking about women in that time, I think literally impossible to avoid violence, because violence was there. Violence is a way to demonstrate your power, and so there's no way I could avoid this vivid and graphic description of violence in my book, which I know must have
Mm-mm.
offended a lot of people. But that was the truth I wanted to speak about.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kevin Chen, and for this really, really wonderful sharing.
Thank you.